a lot of people on the left have recently been critiquing what they call surveillance capitalism. And they don't like the fact that Google, Facebook, Apple collect data on us when you and I, for instance, use our smartphones. And you can think about that and think about what the implications of that are. But in a purely private market, Google, Facebook, Amazon, they can't show up at your door and kick it in. They can't throw you in jail. They can't extract money out of your bank account and then, under some notion of civil asset forfeiture and then make you prove you're innocent. Government can. So one of the big risks, of course, is when you get these entanglements between government and these big tech firms, that the concerns of people that are worried about what they call surveillance capitalism are actually legit. And they're legit not because private firms are collecting data, but because they become an appendage of the surveillance apparatus, and then government can use that data for entirely different reasons than targeting an advertisement to you like social media companies do.
Yeah, getting me to buy Hawaiian shirts with my cats imprinted on them is not the worst outcome of all this data surveillance, but Facebook definitely knows that I want that. But it just gets to, back to this committee and all of this debate about the Twitter files. I'm starting to realize, and I probably should have known this, but all of that censorship comes from the national security apparatus of the government. It's not something else, and a lot of those spokespeople that they have in media that either worked for the FBI or the CIA, the Department of Defense, Homeland Security. It's an echo chamber. So like the incentive for big tech to cooperate, collude, view the defense machine as a source of revenue, like that's bigger than it ever was. And you start to realize that when you watch, like, so why is big tech complying with all of these demands to censor the narrative? Well, it's a business decision as much as anything else.
Yep. Combined with, oftentimes when they don't, the government accesses it anyway. We know during the Bush administration, for instance, that in addition to partnering with telecommunications companies and big data companies, that the NSA was tapping into data sources of Yahoo and others without them even knowing it. And the only reason we do know it, of course, is because of the Snowden revelations. Yeah. And that's one of the crucial roles that whistleblowers play. People are very kind of torn, and even defenders of liberty often say, well, it's bad, certain whistleblowing is bad, or much of whistleblowing is bad because it threatens national security. And of course, politicians and policymakers hate it. There's blood on their hands. It's the minute whistleblowers come out with something, it's the worst of the worst. And really what they're doing in many cases is pulling back the curtains on the actual operations of it, and that's why they don't like it.
Right.
Oftentimes you go back before Snowden, you go to Daniel Ellsberg, of course, and what did they do? They revealed systematic lying by government. And it wasn't just systematic lying about, mundane waste of resources, even though that's important too. It was about war and prolonging a war and then systematically lying to the American populace to perpetuate that war and to insulate themselves from criticism, which is really at the foundation of any free society. To the extent that a free society is based on the citizenry driving the political machinery, meaning that to the extent we have representatives, they're supposed to represent our interests. What the control of information does is invert that relationship. It basically says, look, we cannot rely on the citizenry to be judges of what's right, what's good, what they want. Oftentimes the logic is, well, they don't know. They can't handle the truth kind of logic, right?
Yeah.
And so we need to control it.